Well, I have never started in the middle of a story before. Once upon a broken heart. Boy, do I have words. First of all, lovely callback in the beginning. So, in the Carval series, in finale, there was a slight mention of a wedding venue who was turned to stone, and then the sister drank the cup to save the wedding. I wonder who that could be. I love Evangeline. She was the sister who got turned to stone. I love her so much. I definitely like her better than Tella. I think Scarlet is like on the same level as Evangeline. But yeah, let's get into this. So, to start off with, we are going up north to the. Hold on. I forgot. I forgot. I think it's the magical north? The magnificent north. Close. Magical, magnificent. It's been a long day, but I digress. But so we're going to the magnificent north for a ball with the prince. Don't don't hold expectations for him. But yeah, Evangeline at the start of the book goes to see our resident Prince of Hearts right after his situationship, and he's moping. He's tearing his sleeves in his church. He's isolating. He's sobbing. If he'd have ice cream, he'd be eating a tub of it. Probably apple flavored. And she's like, hey, the absolute love of my life, who Abel warned me about, but I thought it was a good thing, is leaving me for my stepsister. And they're getting married like today. Can you like help me out? Please. But please don't kill. Please don't like do anything drastic. Like, I don't know. Pass them away. So he has poison, turn them to stone, and of course we get Evangeline being like, oh, yeah, no. Let's not do that. So it is kind of giving a little bit of Cinderella with like the stepmother. I do not like Agnes. She's icky. She's body shaming her own kid. And so like Evangeline's dad owned a curiosity shop. It was okay. It succeeded as much as it failed, but it was still going. Unfortunately, Agnes closed it down when she was stoned and sold it for money. I don't like her. But thankfully, we don't see her much. And then, unfortunately, little Miss Evangeline is an orphan. So Agnes is it for her parental. I really don't like Agnes, but Marisol's okay in the beginning. We see her, she's close to nice. So yeah, she is convinced Luce is under a spell to have her marry Marisol because like she can't talk to her own stepsister about the fact that she's marrying her lover. Weird. So then she gets like turned back on. She gets turned back from stone, and like everything's fine. There's a party, and cameras aren't not cameras, but like reporters immediately start jumping her, and Agnes is like, "Girl, you're gonna make me so much money by marrying a man." No, at least let her have a cake. This girl did not even get to eat before men started approaching her. But yeah. And then we kind of get like a cute little look at like Marisol, the stepsister, if I haven't said that already. She likes to bake. And she's also known as the curse bride at this point because her wedding's been caboodled twice. First by being turned to stone, and two when dear Luz got mauled by a wolf. Womp womp. But yeah. So she and Evangeline are kind of living it up. And of course, Evangeline is just like, girl, no, I don't want to marry a man. So she basically says out loud to get the reporters going on that her kisses will turn people to stone. And then my dear Scarlet and Donatella call her to the palace because Prince Apollo wants to extend the throne, but he needs a wife to do that first. So they're sending her instead because Scarlet has an empire to rule and she wants to make sure it's secure, but they still want to be like good with their like another country. And Tella's avoiding her situationship. I don't blame her for that. So they send her and they all become like really fast friends, which is, yeah, I love when girls do that. I love when people like instantly click. It's so much fun. Plus, like, you meet really cool people. But yeah, it was so sweet. I love this book so much. So she gets sent north and she drags her stepsister with her. And then surprise, Jax! Jax is here without blue hair. I'm just saying. He makes fun of people for breaking up, but none of them dyed their hair blue after a breakup. Yeah. So for the price of turning the wedding to stone and stopping the wedding, she has to kiss 3 random people. And she's getting all gussied up and like it's okay, I can't show the picture because the mermaids have really good assets and they are free and wild. I love that for them. However, I might just block it actually. Let me go pull up the map because it is really pretty. So she flies up, she goes on a boat up north and it's super pretty. We are gonna have to block some of that. I know the internet. But yeah, she gets all gussied up and then she's trying to find this party and then a really hot mask knight comes and goes, "Hey, you're here. Hi." And then he just disappears. More on him later. And she can see Apollo like on the balconies. He's kind of strutting. He's very much a peacock. And this is the first time I met him, and he's just kind of posing so he can get portraits done. And there's a lot of portraits of this man. Like all the time, this man is getting a picture painted. Immediate. And then she goes up, and Jax pretty much tells her to kiss him or she will pass away. So she does, and he's kind of into it. And then Jax drags her off, and they're at a ball. And she meets Lala, and I love her. I love Lala. She's kind of like a girl's girl, and she has like fire tattoos, and I love her so much. Slay Queen. And her and Evangeline really click. And Evangeline really wants love at first. Her parents had love at first. And it was so sweet. And unfortunately, we can't really know the full and true story because the North is cursed. Any story in, like, from the North immediately gets goobered up. Like, no ending. Like, she finds some of her favorite books, like multiple copies of her favorite book. None of the ending pages are intact, which is rude. Because she just wants to know the ending. She just wants to know the true ending. Granted, there's an ending she wants for her lovers, but it'd still be nice to know. Because, like, where do we categorize that? A tragedy? Romeo and Juliet? Or one of the greatest stories of all time? So she's at this ball, and everybody's like, ew, girl. Because they don't like her because she's like a foreigner and they're not like the favorite pick and she really has nothing to offer. She does have an appetite. She brings her appetite to the table. So Apollo's approaching and Avenge is like, he's coming. Like, we were making out on the balcony. And then he stops at another girl and they go dance. And everybody's like, huh, lol. I had to shut the book. The secondhand embarrassment, you would not catch me in that ballroom after that happened to me. Mm-mm. Fleeing. But then Apollo comes and is like, hey, I knew if I danced with you, I couldn't make it 5 seconds without proposing. And she's like, oh, okay. So he proposes and he immediately starts like giving her a ton of gifts. Bathtubs full of gold, an entire stable, 155 carolers like with bells for each hour until their wedding. Outside her window. And then he serenades her every night. So that was the second time I met him. And he just gave me the edge. Like, I mean, granted, we do find out he was under a spell pretty quickly on. It's like, that's a little too much. Back off. Back up, sir. I think, yeah. So, and then Evangeline and Jax basically go to another castle that is owned by the Fortunas. Fortunas? Yeah, Fortunas. And Miss Fortuna, the matriarch, has this like really cute business of like flavored waters, which honestly, they may taste bad, but like they're so bad they're good. And honestly, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. I would like to see this. Like a lot. Maybe I'm just thirsty. I'll go get some water after this. That's a reminder. Please stay hydrated. Please. Pretty please. But yeah. And she finds out. So she kisses the matriarch of the family on the cheek because she really wants Evangeline dead. And she has two very cute baby puppies who are actually massive. And after the kiss, everything's fine. And Jackson's like, okay, in and out. In and out. So they go down to a vault and they find this arch. And it turns out there's a prophecy, and everybody wants Evangeline dead because the old monarchy was hiding stuff. And depending on the myth, we don't know if it's good or bad. We still don't know if it's good or bad. It's either the greatest treasure that everybody wants or a monster. Yay! So they pretty much book it out of there, and he's like, okay. And of course, like a baddie she is, she does confront Jax, and he's like, okay, I see you, I hear you. Marry him, and I'll lift the curse, and I'll leave you alone. And she's like, fine. Okay. So she starts to talk to Apollo more about this, and she's like, hey, can you come up here? And his mind immediately goes into the gutter. Like, he is actively laying her on the bed. No, the man couldn't even use the stairs. He had to climb her walls. Granted, at least he had the audacity to be polite after she was like, ooh, no. I just kind of want to learn about the country I'm gonna rule. So like, no. We are not. I hate Apollo. So yeah, he's kind of sweet. I guess. I guess. After the 155 carolers with the bells at her window, like below her window. No. No. Like, she was at an inn before she moved into Wolf Hall, his like palace. And he came barging in her door one night, being like, are you hurt? I heard a rumor you're injured. Sir, politely knock. Granted, phones aren't in this book, so you couldn't text her, but like, come on. Come on. You do not have to barge in. You could have knocked. You could have knocked. Just a little. I digress. He crosses a little. He doesn't fully cross them, but it's just enough where it's like, oh, okay, ew. So yeah, that happens, and then she's kind of prowling with Jax, and he's kind of being. It's a slow burn, so I'm gonna let him cook. But he's still a jerk at this point in the book, and on the day of their wedding, everything goes perfect until the wedding night where she's like, okay, I'm married to Apollo. I'm just gonna take it. I don't want him to be like in love with me forever because like that doesn't feel real. And also, it's kind of mean of me to keep a man under a spell. So Jax undoes the spell. As we know from Carval, he has control over people's emotions, but the North makes their magic like really finicky and weird. It's kind of like when you try to read like something upside down, you can technically do it, but it's gonna be like way harder. And they get into a fight, and she drinks. She had a little sip of wine before she undid the spell and everything. Well, she thought she just kissed him, and then they start fighting, and then oop, he died. And of course, when the guards come in, they're like, oh, "You killed him, girl! You were in 5 seconds away." And Havelock, I love Havelock. I hope we see more of him. I kind of hope he's not dropped in the next book, but he's actually processing. He's using his brain. Yay! But yeah, the others was like, yeah, we're gonna like kidnap you now. Technically, she is a princess. Yeah, they're. Yes, your prince is in the bed dead, but. And now, I knew there was so much, because I've seen a skosh of like Apollo commentary. Just a skosh. And I knew. Because yeah, he was annoying, but he wasn't that annoying to garner the hate he did. And you know what? I was right. Spoiler right now, he wasn't dead. Jax. Jax just put him in a coma. But so yeah, she flees with the helps of Jax, and they go to Lala, and oops, she's poisoned. So they have to go to Lala to make sure she's healed, because Lala is the unwed bride, the fate. And she's like, can we still be friends? And then she's like, you're my ride or die, obvi. And so they go do that, and she's healed, and she's like, I guess I'm being held by Jax. I guess because the way that Lala's tears work is they kind of increase the level of grief someone's feeling until like they literally cry all they get really dehydrated by crying a lot. Um so she has to be held by Jax. Of course, he does this man actually cuddle? No, he's stiff as a board. This is why your situationship with Tella didn't work. Just saying. So that happens, and it's all great, I guess. And they're like, ooh, so like there's this guy, and we do kind of need to talk with him because like he owes me a favor, and it's chaos, and it's ooh, Lala's situationship. We don't hear much about it in book one, and he's also a vampire. Vampires are just, I do like the vampire aesthetic a lot. Like, ugh, I need a vampire gown. Ugh, I love. Ugh, gorge. Anyway, so they walk off to go find Chaos, and it turns out Chaos is that hot guard. Mind you, vampires are still really, really dangerous. And he's muzzled. Chaos is also the fate. But yeah. Not gonna lie, he's hot. But I've seen the fan art. If he actually turns out to be a bad guy, I'm gonna be okay. Okay. But I've seen the one fan art of the person who does like the Stardust comet with like Khaleesi. Not gonna lie. I don't guess. So they go see him, and oop, it's fledgling night, and a bunch of people get bitten, and they're escaping. And who makes an appearance? But Luce. Yay. This man annoyed me far too much because he's like, yeah, I knew I was cursed by like your sister and everything. And like, yeah. So, yep, Marisol was hexing people again, twice. So, Apollo has a brother. I don't know how I feel about him. We can put him in the maybe pile. Tiberius' initial reaction to Evangeline was hostility, but also like Apollo was like, I'm not gonna get married. And then on pretty much day one, it was like, you're my wife. So he was a little suspicious, which I get it, I get it, I get it. And then I have no idea what that banging was. My guess is a dog. I hope it was a dog. But yeah. So Marisol was also going after Tiberius since Apollo was like dead, so she could get the throne because she was in fact jealous of Evangeline. More on that later. So Luce is kind of telling her the rundown. He's like, "Can you please let me out of this cage? I promise I won't bite you." Guess what he does when as soon as he's out of the cage? He lunges. He lunges. And Jax, without thinking, jumps in front of Evangeline. I smell another situationship, Jax. This one will end better. I know he's endgame. And there's two types of bites. One just to feed off humans, and another to inject them with vampire venom. And Jax being not Jax, but Luce being a baby vampire, um, he injects Jax with venom. So they have to lock up Jax, and it's a lot of Jax being like, "Hey, we don't want me to be a vampire because one, I'm a fate. That's not a good conversation. Also, I like my vitamin D. I like the sun, and thankfully they make it so he doesn't turn into a vampire because if the fledgling doesn't get human blood by dawn, they pretty much just revert back. So thankfully he's not. So and then he like sleeps it off because like it's a lot. It's a lot for him. So she's trying to get to Lala's, except Jax is no help because he's sleepy and he's not communicating. He goes, Lala's closer. Where's your place? Miss Lala's close. Please communicate. At least try. So Abel kind of gets to the point where it's like, hey, come in here, please, because there's wanted posters. It's no longer missing posters. It's not wanted posters. Yay! Thanks, Marisol. Thanks. So they go into Jack's house, which is messy. The books all out of order. Volume 1 over there, volume 2 over there. Unlabeled. A complete mess. But she finds the spell book that her sister was using that's disguised as a cookbook, and she finds the spell that she used for making people fall in love with her, but she also finds a truth potion, and she very quickly does that. And she's like, okay, I gotta sneak into the palace and give this to Tiberius. So she does that, and then Marisol finds her, so they go into her room, and Evangeline's old room, and Marisol's like, yeah, I did curse like your boyfriend to fall in love with me and marry me, but like it's just because like I'm nothing and like I hate my mom. I hurt her mom too. Everybody hates Agnes. And it's like, oh, what was me? And yeah, I'm so pitiful. I'm a cursed bride. And like, can you please forgive me? And Evangeline, being the sweet girl she was, just like, yeah, I get it. Your mom sucks. And I know it's not, just try to do better. And I know being I know you only have your mother, and I've had like so many more people for like a support system for you. I've had my father, my mother, Luce, and you've only had Agnes. And she's like, yeah, okay, I forgive you. And then Evangeline's like, yeah, so about when you turned to stone that one time for like 5 minutes. And then I drank that poison and was stone for 6 weeks. Yeah, so that was my fault. I didn't know he was going to turn y'all to stone, but like, I'm so sorry. It wasn't. I was. I just wish. I thought someone was going to save me because the cup refilled. Anybody could have done that. Just until we could like figure something out. But no. And Marisol's like, oh, what? You gave me the reputation as being a cursed bride. Guards. She killed my fiance's husband. Or my fiance's brother. I'm sorry, what? Marisol, that is when I lost all respect for her. It's like, girl, what do you mean? You actively sought out. You did stuff to make your stepsister's boyfriend fall in love with you. I digress. So Evangeline is being interrogated by Tiberius, and he thankfully drinks the flavored water. Just the truth potion disguised as the flavored water, and now he can't lie. And he's like, "Yeah, you do kind of have to like, so like the prophecy won't come true because like that's gonna be such a headache, but also like it kind of sucks. I do like you. I do like you. I think you're a great person, but also I really don't want war. Because, like, if it's a monster, it's gonna suck. But also, like, if it's treasure and a prison for, like, really bad people who did magic, ooh, bad idea. And then the guards come in and everything's fine and dandy and Jax is nowhere to be seen. And he's like, yeah, could you, like, kill her? What'd she do? I killed my brother. He really thought he killed her. Tiberius really thought he killed Apollo when he's just in a coma. Poor baby. And they're like, oh, okay, let's imprison you. It's been a really crazy like few weeks. And then Havelock is like, hey, Evangeline. So you are technically like the only royal right now because you are married. So let's get this settled. So Evangeline becomes queen consort. She's like a step in. And Jax is coming and like they can talk through each other's head and she does have magic. She can open things with like her blood. Kind of like Jax for the kisses was like taking a little bit of his blood and putting it on her lips when she was kissing people. And if you haven't noticed, there were 3 marks, but we've only kissed 2 people. She still has 1 mark. That probably maybe in book 2, maybe in book 3. So that happens. And Jack sounds really weird. And she's like, I'm seeing you. Hold on. Let me get to the lobby. And then she takes a sharp right turn. And Havelock and this other girl is like, surprise, here's your husband. He's just in a coma. Can you please try waking him up? Thank you. And she's like, well, that did nothing. Hold on. I need to go research. And there's a door about the old monarch, the Valors, and it's been closed for a good few centuries. But with her blood, she can open anything. So she goes and opens that, and that's where the book ends. I love this book so much. You have no idea. It's addictive. And also the cover, it looks like a broken heart. Like, it's very sparkly too. I don't know how well it's going to pick up. Is that sparkly or is this? Okay, it's an illusion. But like the white specks does make it glittery. and it's so pretty. I do give this book a 5 out of 5 stars. Um, Honestly, whenever I started reading it, sped through it. Um, Evangeline. Evangeline. Baddie, queen, icon, heart of gold. Heart of gold. Jax does not deserve you yet. And also by the end of the book, Jax does get rid of his blue hair by magic. Just saying, Jax was making fun of Evangeline for, being a little sad over Luce. But at least she didn't dye her hair. Speaking of dyeing hair, I do need to re-dye mine. But eventually. Oh, no. I gotta figure out how I want to dye it. Because I do really like having, like, maybe peekaboo, but maybe. Anyway, off topic. But Stephanie Garber. So one of my favorite things ever is like seeing an author, an artist, or anybody really grow in their work. And it's so clear here. It's so clear. It's cohesive. Yes, I did really like Caraval, but it almost went wee. This one is good. I feel like she what she really does well is like describing feelings, and it's really interesting, especially with Scarlet, when I really did like her, like the crimson of love or the yellow of sadness. It was like really interesting. And I do see a little bit of like Scarlet in Evangeline because they are very similar. They have a love for their sisters. But I feel like Evangeline has a little bit more of a spark to her. Scarlet did eventually get a spark, but she had to grow into it far more. And granted, Scarlet was also dealing with Donatella, and it's not like dealing, but more like siblings. It's sibling energy. And she has to kind of watch over Tella because Tella is young and a little bit reckless. I mean, going to make out with a fate. I mean, right after you're like Donatella, I do love. She's just not my favorite. My least favorite, probably, of like the main group so far, because they do interact. They all interact. Of like Julian, Scarlet, Tella, Legend, Evangeline, Jax would probably be Legend. After Spectacular really did not do him justice for me. Jax, still a jerk. Still a jerk. But he's growing. He also never kissed anybody when they were tied up and blindfolded. I'm still a little bitter about Spectacular. It was creepy. It was creepy. But yeah, Once Upon a Broken Heart, so far of what I read of Stephanie Garber, is one of my favorite books from her. Granted, I still have two others. And I know I've heard a lot of talk online of like this is one of the greatest books. The banter and enemies to lovers. Ooh. I love Evangeline. She's iconic. And like her pink hand, she's like, yeah. She's very much attuned to herself. She was very well rounded with her parents. And I love her so much. I love her because she tries to see the best in everybody, but like sometimes you do have to push back when people start to act a little weird. Not weird, but like pushing boundaries and whatnot. You need to make sure that you are safe, but you also have to make sure you're being nice to people. And she does that in a really nice blend. And I can't wait for her little princess arc. Because, like, pretty much she was like the belle of the ball. And then, like, you know, her wedding night happened. And yeah, so I'm curiouser and curiouser about what's to come next. But, oh, oh, she has my heart. And Chaos, well, but I don't know, guys. I still really like Lala. Lala is such a fun character. She definitely has more spunk. She, I know in a lot of these, like, YA series and fantasy series and series in general, it's always the men having tattoos. And women don't normally get that. Lala, meanwhile, has two full sleeves and she is rocking them. Like, she doesn't cover them at all. Like, all her dresses have no sleeves because she wants to show off her cool fire tattoos. Get it, queen. Get it. And it's just so cool to see that. And I cannot wait for book 2. But anyway, lovelies, go drink some water, get a cookie, and make sure to enjoy some sun today. All right, love ya.